Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. I'm Kelly Dolejsi, and I'm Worship Associate for our service today. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Please sign our guest sign-in book in the foyer. You can also speak with our greeter, Mike McNaughton, or Rebecca Howard, the chairperson of the membership committee. Our nursery coordinator, Sarah Hamoud, can watch kids 0 through 3 years old in the nursery. After time for all ages, kids can go out with Elizabeth Portrios, our spiritual enrichment teacher and assistant, to go to their World Blessings class. Today, we are highlighting a few announcements.
Good morning, beloveds. I'm Terra Hite. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Director of Lifespan Spiritual Enrichment. Church announcements can be read weekly through your email and can be found on our website, our monthly printed flyers, and some are on the back of your bulletin. So a few announcements to highlight today. Next Sunday is our annual church membership meeting on May 4th. We'll be serving lunch will be provided, and we have a bunch of important topics to vote on, so please come. Then May 10th, we're having our community engagement fair, and so this will be a fair where we share what we have to share. And so you can share goods, you can share food, you can share activities, we'll have crafts, we'll have dancing, all sorts of things going on. So if you're interested in that, please contact myself or Tina, and we'll get you involved. And you can also, there's also a link that can lead you to signing up. And then after the service today, our Sacred Grove will be leading a fun shop for everyone, and they'll be making maygads, which are kind of like little mini maypoles or wands. And then at the same time, James Carroll will be leading comparative religions. And then after that, those two things, we will be going to the co-op for lunch. So please join us for lunch and to support the co-op. And then this Thursday, we have the littlest ones, and we also have El Grupo meeting. The littlest ones is at 11 a.m., and El Grupo will be at 6:30 p.m., and El Grupo is a Spanish conversation group. And then this Friday is First Friday Out with UUs at the China Palace, so please join us there. And then we're going to try this following week on May 7th will be a UU sack lunch here at the church. So during your lunch hour, you can join other UUs and have time for conversation and get together. And we have our women's retreat. So registration is open for women's retreat. It will close next Sunday, so please register by then. And the retreat is on May 17th, and the theme will be based around Atlas of the Heart, the book by Brené Brown. Thank you. Oh, and then I need to do the next. And wait, where did it go? Well, now it's time to greet your neighbor. So if you'd like to get up and say hi to the person next to you or around you. And it is time of COVID, so if you don't want to shake hands, that's okay.
Did I put the page back in the wrong way?
I can't find it.
Hello, neighbor. Oh, okay.
I didn't say living the time, but
Yeah, I didn't say hello to you.
Here I don't know. I don't know you really. My magical name is Rowan, and my Monday name is Laura. It is easy to remember them because they're both trees.
Which one would you rather I call you?
Rowan today.
You got it. had a little out of order. So, like, I had this page here, so I didn't read any of this. So I was like thinking, shouldn't I have introduced you all?
I'd like you to do that.
Yeah, I was
also
thinking.
want to be sure that people are aware of
Right.
the growth meetings.
Right. So Terra did mention that. I see what happened. I just skipped right to this, and I missed this whole thing because. So that's what happened. We're a little mixed up. But I will say this now.
Okay. So I'll call people back.
Today, we are pleased to welcome Our Lady of the Woods Coven as our guest worship leaders. We are so glad that you have joined us this morning as we celebrate spring and Beltane. Thank you for being here with us. Our Reverend Tina Dio is gone this weekend and will be back next Sunday. Our church theme for April is joy. Today, we are celebrating the joy of the pagan holiday of Beltane. Now, we will light our chalice, our symbol of our faith. Or you can put in a candle. Just light a candle. And just hold it over the. There it is. Thank you. Our chalice lighting words today come from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. Within the heart of the flower, the fountain of beauty. Within the heart of community, a fire that warms and dances. Within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. Holy, holy, holy. We will now invite Our Lady of the Woods to come and lead us in our opening songs. They will lead the first song, and we will join them in the second song. Lyrics will be up on the screen. Please stand for these songs in body and or in spirit. Please remain standing for our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is a sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in fellowship, and that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. And now it is our time for all ages.
Good morning. Today, as we see, we have special guests with us here who are talking about roots and flowers and celebrating Beltane. Beltane is a Celtic festival that celebrates when everything starts to grow again after winter. It is a magical time when the earth in this hemisphere is full of life and energy. And in this time of growth and green, let's take a moment to think about plants. Plants. They harvest the light of the sun. Plants. They are essential to our existence. A couple weeks ago, I talked about the communication between bees and flowers and the reciprocity in their relationship and the wisdom of reciprocity. Today, I'd like to share about another phenomenon in nature that we have a lot to learn from, the communication between plants, and how, in the case of natural pecan groves, the trees work in unity. Recently, our family was on a road trip and started listening to the book, Braiding Sweetgrass, by Robin Wall Kimmerer, a scientist from the Potawatomi Nation. She talked about pecan groves where her grandfather grew up. Some years there was an abundance of pecans, and other years there were none. She says, If a tree just plodded along, making some seeds every year, they would all get eaten, and there would be no next generation of pecans. In other words, they make so many nuts one year, even after all the squirrels and other animals gather them up and bury them away, there will be some forgotten nuts that will grow. She goes on to describe how the groves of pecan work together to time when they will flower and fruit and when they won't. Surprisingly, they found that there is something more to this than simply when it frosts or changes in the environment. She writes, but given the individual differences in habitat, it seems unlikely that environment alone could be the key to synchronicity. Yet, they all work in unison. She says if one tree fruits, they all fruit. There are no soloists. And then she says, the trees act not as individuals, but somehow as a collective. Exactly how they do this, we don't know. But what we see is the power of unity. What happens to one happens to all. While we don't know exactly how plants communicate, we are learning about how this communication is very elaborate and how one tree can recognize when another is hurting and send nutrients, or how one plant can be under attack by insects and send a message to a neighboring plant to put up their shields. In one study in a Canadian forest, they found that each tree was communicating with 47 other trees. This communication has a lot to do with a symbiotic relationship with fungi. What are fungi? Yes, mushrooms. The roots of, or the mycelium of mushrooms, carry nutrients from one plant to another in what is called the wood wide web. In what ways can we be like pecan trees? Where do we find unity? Yesterday, a few of us here went to the awesome talent show at Sala, a fundraiser for Espanola Pathways Shelter. You may notice people are now using the word unsheltered in place of homeless in order to emphasize that housing insecurity is a societal issue instead of putting the responsibility on the individual who is unhoused. At the end of the talent show, I met a man who had a time in his life when he was unsheltered. He talked about how hard it was for him to be seen or heard during that time. That as an unsheltered person, people assumed he was using drugs, was crazy, and even a criminal. He felt firsthand what it was like to be seen as less than human. In the United States, between 2023 and 2024, there was an increase of 12% in homelessness. Many things lead people to lose their homes, and part of it is how we lack the unity of pecan trees. The way the man I met felt like something other is not what unity feels like. However, yesterday, among the people who run the shelter, the talented people who performed, and the people who came out to attend, I felt a great sense of unity. Everyone there took a moment to recognize that those who are unsheltered need our support right now. While there is much to be done and we need to work to change our systems so that no one is unhoused, this group came together yesterday to address the need as it is right now. In our women's group this week, we talked about the Buddhist idea that we are all one. In being one, if one of us suffers, we all suffer. Fannie Lou Hamer said, "No one is free until we are all free." We also recognize that no one is safe until we are all safe. So, in this magical time and vibrant time of Beltane, what can we learn from roots and flowers? How can we be more like the pecan grove? What does unity mean to you? In 2 weeks, we are hosting a community engagement fair here on Saturday, May 10th. What is something you have to offer that someone else is in need of? Who needs your support right now? What do you have to share? What do you need to receive? It is in caring for each other that we care for ourselves. Let us flourish together. Thank you. And now, kids, you get to choose to stay here or to go with Elizabeth to learn more about the Wheel of the Year and Beltane. Thank you.
Our offering for April is taken up on behalf of Youth United for Climate Crisis Action, or YUCCA, which is coordinated by Earth Care, a local nonprofit that trains young activists in social and environmental justice organizing and supports international campaigns to advance climate justice, transformative education, sustainability, democracy, and civil rights. Earth Care's work is focused on growing grassroots leadership and civic infrastructure from the ground up. YUCCA has sent our church a video thanking you all for your offering donations this month. Let's watch the video now.
Hi everyone, this is Zoe Kraft. I'm the Communications Manager for Youth United for Climate Crisis Action, and we really wish that we could have joined you all in person this month to connect with you face to face, but since we weren't able to do that, we still just wanted to be sure to take a moment to really thank you all for your support of YUCCA's work this month. We know that there are so many great organizations across the state doing really incredible work, and so we're just really grateful that you chose to support youth-led climate justice work in New Mexico this month. But since we weren't able to join you in person, I also wanted to just take a moment to share a little bit more about our work and our overarching goals. So YUCCA is led by BIPOC youth ages 14 to 25 across the state, and together we have the goal of putting pressure on our elected officials to take climate action before it's too late. And we do that through a combination of direct action, advocacy, and community organizing. Our work actually began back in 2019 with the global climate strike, and then after that we launched our ongoing climate emergency campaign. And so some of our kind of long-standing priorities look like keeping fossil fuels in the ground, investing in just transition planning, holding polluters accountable for the harm that they've caused to our communities, as well as promoting and investing in renewable energy and expanding democracy and justice as a whole across our state. So to talk a little bit more about some of our more recent work, we held a creative direct action back in January on the opening day of the 2025 legislative session, where we actually created a large-scale street mural outside of the Roundhouse, calling on our legislators to really take bold action to address the climate crisis. And then after that, we advocated for over 24 bills during the rest of the session to help advance our priorities and really to help advance real change for our communities. And to be honest, we continue to do this work because we know that our futures, as well as the lives and the health of our communities and our loved ones, is on the line. So we just truly want to thank you for your support this month, especially because as a youth-led organization, our work is really rooted in the belief that it's going to take all of us to create real change. And so, your support this month is really going to help us keep building the kind of movement that this moment demands as we continue to also mobilize more young people and community members across the state. So we wanted to take a moment to really express our sincere gratitude for your support and your solidarity this month. We'd also really love to stay connected with you all as we continue to do this work. And so if you're interested in learning more, I also just wanted to invite you to check out our website, which is yuccanm.org. And there you can sign up to receive our weekly e-newsletters, as well as just learn more about our history and our overarching work. Or you can also give us a follow. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and there we can make sure you stay plugged in with our announcements and updates and other ways that you can continue to plug into our work in the long term. But in the meantime, we just really wanted to thank you again for your solidarity and for standing with us in the fight for climate justice. We're so grateful for your support and everything that you've done for us this month. And we hope that you all take care and really just hope to connect with you again soon. Thanks so much.
Please feel free to use the QR code on the Giblify app on the screen. Thank you for sharing your monetary gifts this morning. May what you give bring you into a deeper relationship with this community. thank you for your generosity this morning. May your gifts uplift the work of these young climate activists. During this time, you are invited to come up to our Candles of Community space, if you haven't already, to light a candle and write a joy or sorrow in our book. Joys and sorrows that are written will be read out loud. During this time, you can remain seated or join in singing our meditation song, Spirit of Life, number 123. Today in our book, we have an entry for losing a friend. Our thoughts are with the friends and family of Colleen Ollinger, who will deeply miss her presence. Also, for 50 years of music in Alaska, from the recently completed Folk Festival. And finally, we have gratitude for our local roller derby team for their values and for their awesome bout yesterday. And now I'm going to turn it over to Our Lady of the Woods.
To microphone. Let's start this one over again. Okay, here we go. From seed, to root, to stem, to branch, to leaf, to bud, to blossom, to fruit, to seed, to root, to stem, to branch, to leaf, to bud, to blossom, to fruit, to seed, once more, to root, to stem, to branch, to leaf, to bud, to blossom, to fruit, to seed.
Hello, my name is Amber Kay. Happy Beltane. And I have been a priestess of Wicca for about 47 years now. Before that, I was director of religious education at First Unitarian in Chicago. So this is familiar territory for me. And I want to thank you, by the way. I noticed on the way in that you have pride and trans flags displayed there. And that is very welcoming and very heartening in these times. So thank you. So what is Beltane? Among other things, it's a fire festival, a Gaelic and pagan holiday celebrated on May 1st. Marks the beginning of summer and a time of celebration and fertility. And it celebrates sexual energy and co-creation. It's one of the two most ancient Celtic fire festivals. Its name means the fire of Bel. Well, who's Bel? Bel is an ancient title for gods from the Middle East and Mesopotamia. Its name, the word simply means Lord. So a lot of different cultures celebrated the creator under the name of Bel or Belos or Belos or Belenus or other names. And they also celebrated goddesses, co-creators, under the name Belit or Beltis, which simply means lady. So that's where the name comes from originally. But the other half is fire. The word tain in Gaelic is fire. Why do we celebrate fire so much? Why do we have so many fire symbols and fire festivals? Well, I will invite you to cast your mind back perhaps 30 or 50,000 years ago. Some of you remember those times, as I do. Cast your mind back and imagine that you are an ancestor shivering in a dark cave with predators skulking outside, waiting for their moment. Saber-toothed tigers, perhaps, dire wolves. And there you are, cold and afraid and alone in your cave. Until one day somebody bursts in holding a flaming branch and says, "Lightning struck the tree. I caught some of the fire in this branch." Imagine how that changed everything. That was the first time that we had control of an energy source. Suddenly we could frighten away the predators from the mouth of the cave. Suddenly we could take raw food and cook it and make it more nutritious. Suddenly we had light and warmth within our dwellings and for our tribe or clan to circle around. It changed everything. And that, I think, is why fire is sacred to so many of us today. Not only Zoroastrians and pagans, Unitarians, and so many other groups. Fire, it's wonderful. And now some of us still light those beacon fires on the hill at days like Beltane. And that fire, and perhaps in ancient times, fires on many hills as far as the eye could see. Those fires symbolized celebration and community, and life itself. Because without fire, we would probably not be here. So it is a fire festival. And to celebrate Beltane, some of us jumped the balefire to bring good luck. In older times, they would drive cattle between two fires on their way to the summer pastures. And that was a cleansing and purification ceremony. So among many other things, among spring and renewal and others that my compatriots will talk about, it's about fire and all it symbolizes. Not only the fire without, but the fire we carry within, which you know so well. I'd like to introduce Polaris, who is a third-degree priestess of Wicca in the Ladywood tradition, and she will continue this talk.
I'm much shorter, okay. Thank you, Amber. Is that good? Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm continuing the talk on Beltane, and specifically, I want to reference back to what Terra said. What does unity mean to you? Because that is part of the theme of Beltane. Beltane is the time of the sacred marriage between God and goddess. It's about fertility. It's about creating the opportunity for new growth. So it is a unity. It is a unifying time. Symbolically, it's the time when the young god and the young goddess, sometimes you may hear of May King and May Queen. Have you heard those terms at festivals? Come together in a sacred union. And it's not merely a romantic joining, it's the ignition of life itself. Amber said, this is when summer starts. Yes, agriculturally for sure, this is when summer starts. Astronomically, it's not till June, but energetically, it is starting now. This union isn't just out there in the stories of the gods. It happens within us too, if we want to integrate ourselves into the cycle, into the season, into the energies of this time. It invites us to recognize and celebrate the integration of our own dualities. The divine feminine and sacred masculine are dancing within each of us. We say to one another in this coven, thou art goddess, thou art God, because we recognize that every single one of us carries those energies. At Beltane, this takes a very earthy or visceral form. It's spirit descending into matter. It's heaven connecting with earth. Beyond the fertility of crops and bodies, it's the hieros gamos, which is a term I'm not going to go into a lot, but it's an archetypal understanding of uniting those things which might be separate and maybe in opposition even to each other. Because the sacred's not found in separation, it's found in connection, in relationship. So the split between spirit and matter, mind and body, light and dark, Beltane calls us back to a wholeness, to a unity of those things. It reminds us of all that we carry within us and to embrace it and find a way to incorporate all of ourselves and honor all of ourselves. So I'd like to end my section here with a poetic invitation to this energy. We gather at the threshold of summer as flowers bloom and fires rise. This is Beltane, the festival of life, awakening. At this sacred time, the god and goddess meet in the greenwood, and their union is not only one of passion, but of purpose. The May King and the May Queen, he of sun and wildness, she of blossom and earth, come together in sacred marriage. Their love is not a tale of long ago, but a living myth that pulses through all of nature. This is the Hieros, the sacred marriage of divine opposites, a mystery older than temples, older than names. It is found in the Sumerian rites, in Greek myths, in Celtic fire dances, where God meets goddess and heaven kisses earth. At Beltane, their union brings fertility to the land. Crops rise, animals quicken, flowers bloom. This is the magic of life made manifest. Spirit meeting flesh, desire turning to creation. But this is more than a myth. It is a mirror of our own inner alchemy. Each of us carries the sacred feminine. Each of us holds the divine masculine. Beltane asks us, can we let these parts meet within us with tenderness, with power, with joy? The maypole spirals, weaving opposites together. It's not just dance, but invocation, a prayer of the body, a spell of balance, because the world does not need more division. It needs union, not sameness, but harmony, not control, but collaboration. And so as we light the Beltane fire, may we honor the sacred marriage in the land, in the heavens, and in our own becoming. Let this be a blessing, a union of passion and purpose, of body and soul, of what is above and what is deeply, beautifully below. Blessed Beltane and blessed be. And to continue our conversation today, I'm going to introduce Rowan, also a third-degree priestess in Our Lady Woods tradition, and High Priestess currently of Our Lady of the Woods Coven.
At the moment, we rotate this office. Every person on this stage has at one point or another been the leader of the group. I'm going to be talking about the maypole. And like most folk customs, if you go looking for written references to it, they are few and far between, and likely came long after the custom was originally established. The first recorded instance of a maypole was in a Welsh poem from the mid-14th century. Chaucer refers to a maypole set up as a permanent fixture in the Cornhill district of London. And there are references to maypoles appearing all throughout Europe, from the Pyrenees to Sweden and as far east as Russia. The Pyrenees, by the way, are on the border of France and Spain. They're a mountain range. I didn't know that. I had to look it up. Maypoles were often found in village squares and greens, and sometimes they were a permanent fixture and sometimes they were not. But beginning in the Tudor era, when Henry VIII gave 10 shillings to the maidens of Lambeth for a May in 1492. So that's a little unclear. Sometimes a May referred to the maypole. Sometimes a May referred to the whole celebration. So I don't know how much 10 shillings would have bought in 1492, but that's what he was paying for. Maypoles were much erected and celebrated during the reigns of all the Tudors. Elizabeth I was believed to really enjoy dancing around the maypole. She enjoyed dancing at all times, but also at this time. And during the reign of the first two Stuarts, Charles I and James I. And then came Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans. As you are probably aware, the Puritans did away with Christmas for their period when they were in charge in England. They also did away with the May Day celebrations, and many maypoles, including the one in Cornhill, were chopped up and burned during this period. However, the Merry Monarch came back after the Restoration, and what was one of the things he did? He brought back the celebration of May Day, and that continued into the early Victorian era. Finally, it succumbed to industrialization and general neglect in the late 19th century. Sometimes the maypole was erected every year, and sometimes it was left in the village square as a feature. So it depended on the area. But what does it mean? There are lots of different interpretations. Thomas Hobbes saw a phallic symbol. He believed it was related to the worship of the ancient Roman god Priapus. He disapproved of this practice. In Scandinavian countries, it was believed to represent the world tree, the link between heaven and earth, the link between the world above and the mundane world that surrounds us. James Fraser, in The Golden Bough, believed that setting a maypole for the display of boughs and garlands was a replanting of a fertility-giving tree spirit, and was related to the foliate faces that appeared on medieval churches. Today we call these the green man, and you can see them in many medieval churches. There are lots of dispute about where that symbol came from and what it exactly means. In short, nobody really knows. Lots of people have had lots of different interpretations. Modern pagans tend toward the pole as a phallic symbol, thrust into Mother Earth to mark the beginning of the growing season. Unlike Hobbes, we approve of it. This is a favorite verse of poetry of mine. It's from A Tree Song by Rudyard Kipling, and it's towards the end. Oh, do not tell the priest our plight, or he would call it a sin. But we've been out in the woods all night, a conjurin' summer in. We bring you news by word of mouth, good news for cattle and corn. Now is the sun come up in the south with oak and ash and thorn. Those are three of the sacred trees. In addition to, or in some cases instead of, what you'd think young people would be doing in the woods, they gathered branches of flowering trees. They gathered flowers and branches covered with young green leaves and brought them back into the village to decorate the maypole, but also to build bowers and garlands all around the village square to use in celebrating May Day, decorating and dancing around the maypole. Even when a village square did not boast a maypole, it was often decorated with greenery gathered by young people on May Day. Various places favored different trees to represent the maypole and the garlands that were used in celebration. Hawthorn was most common, and sycamore was used in Cornwall and birch in Wales. I personally like apple blossom if I can get it. Once the decorating was complete, the young people danced in the square to celebrate the coming of summer. I imagine the bowers were used not just to rest from dancing, but for other purposes that you can imagine. The traditional dance with ribbons is probably a later custom, since ribbons were used to replace flowers and greenery when the industrialization of England made it difficult to get natural decorations for the maypoles. However you choose to celebrate the May, remember, and this is a verse from a May song, which was another common feature of these celebrations and which varied a great deal regionally, but I like this one particularly. The life of man is but a span, it flourishes like a flower. The moon shines bright and the stars give light a little before it is day. So Goddess bless you all, both great and small, and send you a joyful May. So now I'd like to introduce Azrael, who is currently the High Priest of Our Lady of the Woods. And she, too, is a third degree. And she and I dedicated in 1992. Whoa. So we've known each other a long time and are very good friends. So, and she will be talking about some more aspects of May, including
the flowers of May,
and
of
flowers of Beltane. Thank you.
Okay, the flowers of Beltane. I told you we'd talk about the roots of Beltane, so Amber did that. And the flowers of Beltane has sort of woven its way through everything that we've said today. And I'm going to focus specifically on the flowers of Beltane. From the very earliest snowdrops in February and the crocuses in February, the earth begins to grow, begins to blossom. And now at Beltane, there are flowers everywhere. Daffodils, forsythia, even the lilac is starting to come out. All of these flowers are flowers of Beltane. And They are symbols of the goddess Flora, just one of many floral goddesses out there, but her name happens to mean flower, and of the green man, for without the greenery, you don't get the bud and the blossom and the fruit and the seed. You need the greenery to help all the nutrients work. So we honor the green man, we honor flora, and how do we do that at Beltane? We gather the flowers. As Rowan mentioned, and I think Polaris also, early in the morning on May Day, people would go out into the woods and gather those flowers that they found blooming there. And sometimes they would put them in little baskets and hang them on a neighbor's door. I remember doing that as a child. And I thought that was very special and very magical. A little May basket from who knows who, maybe the fairies, maybe a neighbor child. It was wonderful. Now you'd probably get arrested for trespassing. Times change. Flowers were also made into wreaths and garlands, and as Polaris mentioned, into bowers, and also into maygads. What the heck is a maygad? Well, first of all, we'll take a step back to what is a maypole, and Rowan explained that quite well. When Amber and I were in Slovenia a couple of years ago, we noticed these tall, skinny poles with a ring at the top all over the place. We were there in late May, and we finally asked somebody, what are these poles? And they said, those are the maypoles. We leave them up all year long. And you could practically see one maypole from another one and continuing on, like the early bale fires on the tops of the hills that could be seen for miles and miles. You could see these maypoles all over the place in Slovenia. I thought that was a wonderful custom. Leave the maypole up. And what is a maygad? A maygad is sort of a miniature maypole. I forgot to bring one with me, but there's a remedy for this. They've got a plan for this. After the service, you're welcome to join us in the fellowship hall and make a maygad. It is a stick about yay long or yay long. It depends on how long you want it. And you add flowers and ribbons and perhaps bells and a couple little pearl things, and you just decorate it, and then you have a symbol of the maypole to take with you. And we would encourage every one of you to come and make a maypole. I hope we have enough poles. I think we do, because probably some of you are going to wimp out. But we should have enough poles, and we've got lots of flowers and lots of ribbons and lots of scissors and lots of stuff to put them together with. And we would urge you to take the maypole into your life, and as your call to action, to remember to enjoy this season. For no matter what is going on in the world, they cannot stop the spring from coming, and they cannot stop you from enjoying it. So take your little bit of joy and go forth and wave your maygad and be a happy, may I say it, pagan. Join us after the service, and we'll show you how to make a maygad. And by the way, while we're introducing people, I'd like to thank Drew, who put together the music for this service with Nylea. And we thank you for inviting us to come and celebrate with you today. Thank you very much.
So we wanted to mention a couple of things. The Grove meets on the 3rd, it's the 17th this month, I believe. And if you want to learn more about other pagan holidays besides Beltane, we're going to have a presentation about the Wheel of the Year.
Yes.
And I hope that you will, if you are interested, come. Thank you.
I'm wearing this for the
The Horn God.
Horn God. Not that much. that man.
Thank you.
Please stand and body your spirit as Our Lady of the Woods leads us in one more Beltane song.
I would like to share some words from two Wiccan priestesses, Doreen Valiente, who was one of the founders of modern Wicca, and Starhawk, who is currently very active in our faith. From Doreen: friends that in the circle stand, heart to heart and hand to hand, bringing Beltane to the land, let the sleeper awake. May the flame of Beltane burn, may the old ones now return, may we of their magic learn, let the sleeper awake. Let the streams and fields be pure, earth and sky be clean once more. Love and laughter may endure. Let the sleeper awake. Forests spreading, peace returning. When the pagan fires are burning, now the inner light desiring. Let the sleeper awake. May the lady's touch again rest upon the barren plain. With the sunshine and the rain, let the sleeper awake. Beltane magic, here we sing, chant the rune and dance the ring. Joy and blessing shall it bring. Let the sleeper awake. And not only is this the time when the land awakes and renews and life returns, perhaps it's also a time to let these sleepers awake and realize our power. From Starhawk: we are the power in everyone. We are the dance of the moon and sun. We are the hope that will not hide. We are the turning of the tide. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Please join hands if you choose for our closing song.